Hey movie geeks, I hope you're having a good day. Carlito's Way is truly one of the most underappreciated gangster thrillers of all time. It's gripping, emotional, intense, and contains one of Al Pacino's greatest performances as Carlito Brigante, a veteran gangster desperate to leave his past behind.
You think you're big time? You're gonna fucking die big time! Here come the pain!
I've done a video analysing the whole film, which will be in the pinned comment below, but right now we're going to be diving deep into the stunning ending, where Carlito is desperately trying to escape pursuing gangsters to meet his true love Gail to start a new life. The first part of the ending, the subway chase scene, really stands out for me because it's so unique. It's not a shootout, it's not an action scene, it's De Palma exercising his incredible gift for creating tension. Carlito is ducking and hiding, getting closer and closer to his escape, and yet it still seems so far away. This is one of the best cat and mouse chases I've ever seen. It's so tense and quiet, and you can cut the tension with a knife. And has so much emotional weight under the surface because De Palma has spent the whole film showing us how much regret and longing Carlito has to turn his life around. The use of handheld camera work interspersing quick cuts and close-ups creates a claustrophobic and unpredictable atmosphere. De Palma perfectly mixes a sense of quiet intimacy as Carlito is sneaking around, with a sudden explosion of pressure and worry as he is almost seen. The tension is just completely overwhelming. De Palma sets the camera as close to Carlito as possible, so we are literally going through the chase with him, but he also allows us to see when Carlito's pursuers are close by, sometimes when he can't, demonstrating De Palma's flawless skill of setting up shots and using the scenery to his advantage. We are filled with a sense of urgency and panic. We want to warn him, but we can't. It's almost torture what De Palma puts us through. He's a filmmaker who is perfect at these sort of scenes where we are basically a silent passenger in a terrifying scenario, simply along for the ride. We feel like we are there, but we have no say on what's going to happen. The character's fate is in the hands of De Palma, and all we can do is hope for the best. Unlike other gangster movie culminations such as De Palma and Pacino's other film, Scarface, there's nothing macho about this ending. It's not about revenge, killing, fighting or ego. Instead, it's a very desperate human sequence. It's quite simply a man trying to dodge a looming threat and escape to a better life. There is some shooting at the end of the scene, but it doesn't devolve into a massive shootout. It's still intimate, it's Carlito and a few guys, so it still feels grounded and simple. You really do react like, oh not now, please don't let him get caught now. There's an incredible emotional investment that's been built up when shots start to be fired. We are forced to realise this is now the end of the line. Someone is going down, either Carlito or them, and it could all end at any moment now. When Carlito manages to shoot the gangsters, you feel such a sense of elation. It's like, oh, he's gonna make it, he's gonna make it. But every time you think he's safe, De Palma keeps on interjecting these threats out of nowhere. He never lets Carlito or the audience feel safe, even right to the end. It's a genius example of how he as a director relentlessly holds the audience in the palm of his hand and plays with expectations and emotions. When Carlito spots Gail, he starts to run towards her. Al Pacino's smile is so heartfelt and we feel his genuine relief that he's finally going to escape. However, we see one of the gangsters still coming for Carlito, but he gets shot by a police officer. And again, there's a sense of incredible relief and it looks like Carlito has finally made it. He's outrun death, he's escaped the Grim Reaper. Carlito is happy, Gail is happy, we're happy. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, one of Carlito's foes from a trivial and silly disagreement at the club shoots him. The reason there is so much power in this guy being the one to finish off Carlito is that it's just so senseless. It's devastating. After all Carlito has been through, the big time gangsters he's escaped, all the obstacles he's overcome, all his experiences, and then it's this slimy little punk who kills him. It just reiterates the meaningless and nihilistic nature of the gangster world. There's no real logic to what happened. Anyone can finish you off. We never ever expected to be this guy who kills Carlito. It's just so disorientating when De Palma suddenly swings the camera and we see Benny Blanco. It's a dizzying sequence because it throws you for a loop and you end up asking, what? Who is this? Oh, that guy. What, after all this, it's that guy? I can't believe it. De Palma is very good at these moments where everything seems fine Then he will suddenly swing or quickly cut or zoom in on something that completely blows what we are watching out of the water. There's a sense of inevitability to this whole ending. When you finally get to the moment of Carlito on the ground dying, we realise it was sadly always going to happen. But because of De Palma's genius, it was never predictable. We really believed there was a chance he would escape. Perhaps we knew it was impossible deep down, but we didn't want to believe it, and that's the emotional investment Brian De Palma took advantage of. As Carlito lays dying, Gail, played by Penelope Ann Miller, is truly heartbroken, and we feel the emotional weight of this moment. This was Carlito's final chance to do right by Gail, and you truly believe he wanted to, largely because of Al Pacino's passionate and committed performance. So within this terrible world Carlito has lived, full of disloyalty and corruption, what he and Gail had was a glimmer of light in the darkness. It was real, it was true. Penelope Ann Miller and Al Pacino are fantastic in this moment where it's just these two on the screen and Carlito is slipping away. He hands her money and says, "For both of you," referring to his unborn child. This moment is just devastating and it's such a strong reminder of the way Carlito's life could have gone. He had happiness just within his grasp. De Palma lingers on this scene for a few minutes, and I really appreciate that, as Penelope Ann Miller really gets across Gail's strong desire to hold on to Carlito. She doesn't believe what's happening, and the emotions really sink in. This moment sums up Carlito's way. It really was at its core a love story. De Palma proved he could do tender romance as well as the dark gangster stuff. I'm so impressed De Palma reunited with Pacino and made an entirely and completely different gangster story to Scarface. The character of Carlito, although trapped and falling down the same slopes of the past, is at least self-aware and knows he's doing it. He's not necessarily a self-destructive person like Tony Montana. He's a more genuine and thoughtful human being and possibly the most likable gangster ever depicted on film. Carlito's Way has an entirely different vibe and motivation due to this, and I kind of wish De Palma and Al Pacino would have done a third gangster film with another fresh take on it, because they produced two absolute classics. As Carlito is carried away on a stretcher, De Palma turns the camera upside down and things go into slow motion, creating this sense of disorientation and a trippy atmosphere. We get the feeling of what it must be like to be on your last legs. It feels like time has stopped for Carlito's last few moments. We look down on Carlito's face, and Pacino is so convincing in showing a man who is coming to terms with passing away. The goodness of Carlito and his true love for Gail is conveyed in a wonderfully written voiceover, so tender and emotional. It's his final message to Gail, while at the same time Carlito is perhaps accepting that this was always going to happen. He tried, but he was always going to be caught out by this life. So there's also maybe a sense of peace for him in these final moments.
Gail's gonna be a good mom. New, improved Carlito Brigante. Hope she uses the money to get out. No room in this city for big hearts like ours. Sorry, baby. I tried the best I could. Honest.
The camera gets closer to Carlito's eyes as he sees a poster that says "Escape to Paradise." It's so tragic and bittersweet, as that is exactly what Carlito was trying to do. As he stares, one of the characters in the image becomes Gail, dancing joyfully like she always did, and desired to do in paradise when she escaped with Carlito. This moment is so creative, a perfect example of De Palma's visual storytelling. He enhances something simple that is on screen and turns it into something powerful and all-encompassing. This moment really gives you a lump in your throat, it's so poignant. The image of Gail dancing on the beach represents the life that Carlito could have had. Just like the poster says, this was his paradise, his dream, his idea of heaven. Carlito will never experience that, but at the same time seeing this as he is dying at least allows him to remember Gail as he always knew her, happy and free. So in that sense it's bittersweet. He won't get to be with her, but he can watch her as he passes away, doing something that she loves. It's such a beautiful and touching moment. So what do you think of the fantastic ending of Carlito's Way? Let me know in the comments. Click on the video on the screen now to see my full analysis of the film, and please consider subscribing for more videos for passionate movie geeks.